chance. What? Spider. Where?
Mina XC, hola, Mina XC, hola, Mina XC, hola, Mina XC.
I'm a motherfucker gentleman. I'm a motherfucker gentleman. I'm a motherfucker gentleman.
Crack under the pressure and my brain is breaking. Doctor, hey doctor, please don't tell me again. I know my heart is fine, baby, blood pressure's alright. Tell me why does my back break who I am inside? Doctor, hey doctor, say isn't this your job? He says patience, be patient, as he glitches they say come back when something's wrong.
When she gone, I can still hear her voice move, but she only exists in the dark of my room. I can't ignore you. Do anything for you. I do adore you. I can't ignore you. Do anything for you. I do adore you.
We are soldiers, and soldiers don't go to hell. Here we go, folks. Maybe it's time to rage quit, eh? I love knocking out teeth. Just shut up and rage quit. I see one of them. Here we go, folks. I feel no pain. Can you say the same? You're mine! I see one of them. Your humanoid property has no chance against mine. I gotta buy me and the folks some pizza after this. I love knocking out teeth. Maybe it's time to rage quit, eh?
Jason Frosaken while recording this, but I wanted to know which one of them is the best. So let's look at them. There is Jason, Cool Kid, John Doe, and 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. Let's look at Jason first. Jason is the first killer you get when you join the game, so he's the worst, right? Nope, he's actually very good. He has 3 abilities. His abilities are Behead, Gashing Wound, and Raging Pace. His passive mute makes his terror radius smaller than all the other killers, letting him sneak up on people. Let's first look at Behead. Behead has a low damage output of 20, but it makes you dash forward pretty far, and it also gives them the helpless effect for 14 seconds. Behead does even more damage if landed while enraged, but we'll look at that in a little. And Jason's second ability, Gashing Wound, is so good. Gashing Wound does 50 damage. That's like a lot of damage, but there is a problem with the Gashing Wound. It is so difficult to hit. It might just be a skill issue, but like I can only hit it if they run into me or if they're doing a generator. But Gashing Wound is so rewarding to hit because, well, it's 50 damage. Now, let's look at his last ability, Raging Pace. Raging Pace is really good if you know how to use it, but if you don't, it is useless. So the way Raging Pace works is you start to walk, and the person closest to you gets highlighted. And every one of your abilities gets a damage boost, including Slash. While enraged, Slash does 25 damage instead of 20, but Hit does 35 while enraged. And Gashing Wound does 70 damage while enraged.
Distraction.
Okay, yeah, you're dead. And if you're wondering how to use Raging Pace like an epic pro, just use it when low on stamina, and that's really it. Also, the Slash makes you dash forward while enraged. Now, let's look at Cool Kid. Cool Kid is interesting. He has no passive. He has 3 abilities, not including Slash. Cool Kid's first ability is Corrupt Nature. Corrupt Nature is pretty simple. It launches out a brick, and when you hit somebody with it, they get slowness. And it does 15 damage. And that's really it. Also, can someone explain why the brick flies up when my cursor is not there? What just happened? Now let's look at his second ability, Walk Speed Override. Walk Speed Override is very good. Walk Speed Override launches you forward and does 25 damage and gives the player you hit burning for 10 seconds. But there's a big problem. You cannot change directions. So if you miss, you just go flying across the map. But that doesn't change how overpowered it is. Because for some reason, when your back hits a wall, you just slide. So you can catch people off guard like this. Or you could just straight up hit them through a wall. And Cool Kid's last ability is Pizza Delivery. Pizza Delivery spawns in 2 pizza guys that walk pretty slow, but they don't make a sound, letting them hit you when you're not paying attention. They each do 20 damage and gives the player the hit, burning, and slowness. So Cool Kid is pretty good if you know how to use them. Now, let's look at John Doe. John Doe has 2 passives. His first passive, Natural Malevolence, makes a trail of corruption wherever he walks, and if anyone steps in it, they take damage. And his second passive, Unstoppable, makes it so he cannot be stunned for more than 2 seconds. Now let's look at his abilities. He has 3 abilities, not including Slash. He has Corrupt Energy, Digital Footprint, and Error 404. Corrupt Energy sends out a wave of spikes, each doing 12 damage. But sometimes multiple spikes hit, so instead of 12, it can do 24. 32, or even 48!
Oh my goodness. So satisfying. I just hit this guy 4 times with 1 spike.
And when you land the spikes, you gain speed 1 for a few seconds. But the spikes are pretty hard to land. Now, let's look at his second ability, Digital Footprint. Digital Footprint makes this puddle that slows and damages whoever steps in it. Digital Footprint. Digital Footprint makes this puddle that slows and damages whoever steps in it. And his last ability, Error 404, highlights everyone on the map. It's halfway through the video now, so don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help me out a ton. Now, let's look at the last killer. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. I'm gonna call him 1x for short since it's so long. 1x has 4 abilities and 1 passive. His passive makes it so when you hit someone with your slash, they get poisoned. The abilities are Mass Infection, Entanglement, Unstable Eye, and Rejuvenate the Rotten. Whoa, that's a big word. Let's look at Mass Infection. Mass Infection has a windup of 2 seconds and does a crazy 35 damage, not including the poison damage. And it also gives the player you hit the glitch effect, making it really hard to see. And if you land it up close, it does around 60 damage. But there is a problem. If you turn on epilepsy mode in the settings, it just completely removes the glitch effect. Now, let's look at Entanglement. Entanglement is pretty simple. You throw both of your swords, creating pop-ups on your target screen, making them helpless and unable to move until they get the pop-ups off their screen. And if you're close and hit Entanglement, then use Mass Infection, it does a massive amount of damage. So much damage. Now, let's look at Unstable Eye. Unstable Eye is pretty similar to Arrow 404. The only difference is that 1X gets blindness and speed. And that's really all there is to Unstable Eye. Now, let's look at his last ability. Rejuvenate the Rotten. For every player you have killed, a minion will spawn, attacking anyone who is near. And if you hit the minion, you gain speed 1. But it stacks, meaning if you have 3 in a row, you can have speed 3. Now that we have looked at all the killers, we have to rank them. Let's rank Jason first. I think Jason requires 0 skill, because 99% of my swings land because of the huge hitboxes. And another thing that makes Jason really good is that he has the highest walk speed out of all the killers. So I think he is an S tier. Now let's rank Cool Kid. Now I know this sounds crazy, but I don't think Cool Kid is very good. But that's because he takes the most skill. Yes, I'm calling a character that I'm trash at bad. So I think he is a B tier. Now let's look at John Doe. John Doe is probably the worst killer. His abilities are pretty hard to use. Like with Digital Footprint, you have to place it in a good spot so someone will actually step in it. And Corrupt Energy takes a good amount of skill to aim, so I think he is a B tier. Now let's look at 1X. 1X is a mix of taking a lot of skill and not taking much skill at all, if that makes sense. Because you can easily kill anyone if you know how to land Entanglement and Mass Infection. Because they can deal massive amounts of damage if you are good at predicting where your target is gonna go. So I think he is an A tier. So I think Jason is the best killer, but that's what I think. But that's my opinion. Let's check with my friends. What do you think of Jason? What do you think?
I'd say an A.
A? Alright. What about Cool Kid? What do you think of Cool Kid?
Really depends how you like him, but for me, an S.
S? Okay. Alright. John Doe.
B.
B? Alright. And 1X.
A.
So why do you think Cool Kid's the best?
Because he's great for starters and spammy.
Spammy. What do you mean by spammy?
One move.